If you're born in this country and you live in any of these environments, before you even have your first kiss, you probably lose a homie or somebody to gun violence or by the police.
Tonight we want to talk about perception. What was that moment that you realized that being a black male was different in terms of how people viewed you?
You know, I knew about everything growing up, but for me personally, I would say last year when I got pulled over, just coming off a championship, me being swaggy, having fun, you know, they pulled me over. First thing they did was had the guns out. And I was uneased by that because I was
they came to the car with guns.
They came to the car with the guns, and then they just told me to shut up and turn my music down and told me to get out the car. And at that moment, I knew, like, this is real. It's like I worked so hard to be who I am and to be treated in such a way that I felt like I wasn't like me, like wasn't human, like, you know. There was no reason for them to come to my car with the guns out for tinted windows.
I remember being in camp when I was real young, and I remember one of the camp counselors was killed by a police officer reaching for a bag of chips. It was at a point where I was just like, oh, this is probably normal, just a precaution of being black.
That's really sad that it's normalized so early.
It's very normal. I think we just all desensitized to it. It's like, imagine if you're 16 years old and you literally see it every day on your Instagram. Black kid gets killed by the police. They thought he had something. You get pulled over, you're thinking to yourself, maybe I should just run. Maybe I should. I mean, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. Maybe I should run.
They're young. Their brains aren't fully developed. How can a kid expect to be so mature and composed and de-escalate the situation if the officer is escalating the situation?
As a black man, I've been in the car when a white business associate got pulled over. And it's like, I feel like I'm on Mars. Because we get pulled over, and as soon as the cop comes up on the car, what the hell are you pulling me over for? I'm like, dude, I'm like a runaway slave. I'm like, dude.
Like, don't do that.
Right? Like, dude, I wasn't even going over the speed limit. Go to hell and all kind of crazy shit, right? So and not even thinking on any level that there's danger of any kind. I can be driving down the street in the middle of the day in a car that I own, that I know I own, with plates that are good, and I know they good.
Right?
With I'm playing gospel at this current moment, just because of wherever I am. Like, there's nothing that would give an indication that I am a threat, and I'm still afraid. And so that speaks to what Wale is talking about. Like, even when you right in every way, you're still afraid of what the police are going to do. But I think the greatest challenge is understanding that the law is always on the side of the police officer. For those of you that don't know, most use of force laws are based on the collective bargaining agreements that police unions do. So in most places, the use of force law says the police has the ability to use whatever force they deem is necessary for how they feel in the moment. And so the law says that your fear dictates the use of force that you have the ability to use. And that is the greatest criminal act that has ever existed in our community, because you are now saying your fear of black boys allows you to kill them.
What should we be telling our sons? What should we teach them when? When is it appropriate to make them aware that life will be different from them as a black boy? Because I really struggle with that, and knowing, you know, how much of that burden to place on them in childhood. It just seems like a heavy burden to bear, but at the same time, you want them to be prepared for the world.
I talk to my sons as early as possible, because as much as I wanted to protect them, the police weren't going to. And as much as I wanted to protect them, the street wasn't going to. And so as much as we want to protect our kids, if we're not honest with them, we're ill-equipping them for what's real.
When I think about what I want for my sons, what I really want is for them to be free. And what I mean by free, I mean free from harassment, discrimination, free to dream their wildest dreams, free to be their fullest expression of themselves, free to live in their confidence and their power. That sounds impossible if we have to burden them with this might happen, the world is against you. Like, that's a horrible feeling for a black boy to leave the house thinking only the people in this house care about you. Once you get out there, anything can happen. Where can black boys and men be most free?
I think I'm free.
When?
Like,
you just told
I'm
me
free to be me, though. Still, I'm not gonna let that decide my life.
But it happened.
I'm still me,
I see somebody that look like me die on TV every day. That's a torture that I can't get out of. So I ain't free. I don't feel free with that.
I'm not gonna let that program my mind and not go outside and be me. I'm not about to tell my son he can't be himself because the police gonna shoot him.
Like, again, I don't want to be this. I am negative, damn.
You are that guy.
Nah, but
I'm just saying.
It's systematic, man. Like,
You hurt.
It's systematic. Like, I used to be like, yeah, okay, we are the world, everything's gonna work out. But like, I can't sit up here in front of these kids and be like, yo, well, it is gonna work out, because I really don't know what we can do.
America is built on racism and oppression.
It is.
At its very foundation, it's written into the laws.
Yeah.
And the laws dictate what we are able to do, how we're able to do it, and what the consequences are. And that is the very foundation of what we're living in. So I'm not saying that as the father of 4 boys, I can't teach my sons within a place of privilege to live free. What I'm saying is the reality of that privilege still don't make them free. Because as free as my privilege allows them to think, and as free as my privilege allows them to have relationships with people, and as free as my privilege allows them to be able to dream bigger than I dreamed, even with that dream, that privilege, those relationships, those resources, the moment they're in the wrong place at the wrong time, in the wrong car, on the wrong street, they're gonna get shot in a way that they white friends are not gonna get shot, not gonna get looked at, not gonna get followed, not gonna get... So Nick, I'm telling you, I'm training my babies to think free.
But I grew up in South Central California with both my parents, and if I would have had that ceiling like I couldn't make it in life, I wouldn't be here today. I'd have been at that same block if I didn't think bigger, if I didn't stay in school and have people
let me tell you what I think to what Nick is saying.
Yeah.
And when you talk about what does freedom look like, freedom looks like us utilizing the $1.5 trillion buying power we have.
I need some of that money
to create our own banks, so that when we have our own banks, we're funding our own home loans, we're funding our own businesses. To use that $1.5 trillion buying power to understand that building economic infrastructure in our community is what creates a greater level of freedom than relying on somebody else's institutions to take care of us. And so freedom for me is about the ability to determine my own destiny without having to ask somebody from outside of my community to give me something that my grandparents told me I was supposed to build for myself.
Amen.
That's free.
Wow, that's deep.